crowds at the Spectrum in Philadelphia cheered their defending champion Wings on as they battled their way through the MIL playoff structure. They had to beat a red-hot New York Saints team who had just beaten them 7 days earlier. Number 6, Scott Gabrielson, got them started with a little help from number 14, Todd Curry, and the Wings win and advance to the final. But this man, number 2, John Tucker, he has been hurt for 2 games and might not play tonight. If he doesn't, that will hurt the offense of Philadelphia. But Lou Delgatti, Sweet Lou with a great offense, and Metke right there in the goal, coming back from an injury, along with Brad Cox, everything, all pro, tremendous player, and that combination gives a little bit of calm for this Philadelphia team as they move into New England for the championship game. Meanwhile, a New England season that started out confused with 2 straight losses has turned into a fairy tale. This man, all pro, Dan O'Neill, has helped this blazing offense right here, unselfish speed, showcasing great shooting like that shot, which helped defeat Philadelphia just 1 month ago and send this team into the championship game. Tonight, the defending champion Philadelphia Wings attempt to make MILL history against the league's Cinderella club, the New England Blazers. Tonight's championship game is brought to you by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet won't slow you down. By U.S. Air, America's most frequent flyer. By Thrifty Car Rental, rent luxury for less. By the Beechwood Inn, the official headquarters of the New England Blazers. And by Bryan Lacrosse Equipment, choice of champions. We're at the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts, a record pre-sale. We expect a record crowd for this championship game. It's going to be an explosive contest between 2 the best offensive showcases in the MILL. Hi, everybody. I'm Leif Elsmo, and joining me tonight, as always, Steve Glover. Steve, we were here a month ago, and who would have believed that we'd be back now for the championship game?
A month ago, both teams had made the playoffs. They were playing for home field advantage. Tonight, it's for all the marbles.
Let's take a look at those league standings and just see how important last month's game was. Here we go. New England, of course, tied with Philadelphia at 6-2, but New England getting the championship in the regular season.
New England beating Philadelphia in that last game, therefore getting the home field advantage for the playoff.
Then New York won through the tiebreaker system to get into that first playoff. They played Philadelphia last week, and Steve, that was a very tough game. Really was a dogfight. Philadelphia eking out a win.
Eking out a win, 9-8. Dwight Metke with the MVP. He had 39 saves. He's a big reason that Philadelphia won that game, and he's a goalie that New England hasn't seen. He didn't play in that last game here.
Okay, so he is one of the possible heroes for tonight. Let's talk about that Philadelphia team. This is a team that's very seasoned. They know what it takes to win the championship. They feel very confident. But John Tucker, the league MVP, the team MVP and captain, will not play tonight because of that leg injury. And I can tell you, Steve, that they've got a lot more power behind him.
But they got Brad Cox and Andy Wilson, 2 top players. Between the 2 of them, they have 24 goals and 18 assists. Cox is a world team player, an unbelievable shooter, as is Andy Wilson. Andy Wilson's the type of guy who can get open a lot for the easy goals.
Then also, there's always a sleeper, a guy who does well in the playoffs, and Philadelphia has a lot of those.
Matt McGady, he's a playoff player. He's got 10 points in the playoffs, 1 goal and 1 assist against New York last week.
So those are the guys to watch for the Philadelphia squad. But New England's the team that really has electrified the MILL in the 1990 season. This is a team that lost the first 2 games. They've won 6 straight, and they have their own heroes.
John Fay and Toby Boucher. You talk about the 2 of those. Between them, 20 goals and 20 assists. John Fay, he's the captain of this team. He's got 4 years of experience. As we talked about, a lot of the players only with 2 years experience. He's really the captain. But Toby Boucher, he's a rookie. He came on strong this year. They're the 2 go-to guys for New England.
And a sleeper on that team, not really a sleeper, a tremendous talent. Here's a guy who has not lost in a Blazer uniform.
He came in the 3rd game, and they've been 6-0 since. He's got 5 goals and 7 assists. He's a tremendous rider. He's a pest. You look for him, he'll knock the ball down all over the field and create unsettled situations for New England.
And, of course, that's Tommy Carmine, a great player from the New England area. Steve and I will be back with the starting lineups as we get set for the 1990 championship game in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Welcome back to the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts. Leif Elsmo along with Steve Glover for the major Indoor Lacrosse League Championship matchup. And boy, the crowd is wired up as we look at the starting lineups for the Philadelphia Wings.
Scott Gabrielson, John Connolly, Ricky Freed, Mark DeSico, Tony Resch, and in the goal, Dwight Metke.
And of course, Dwight Metke, as you mentioned in the stand-up, wasn't here the last time these two teams played. This is their #1 guy. He will be very tough, a critical player for the success of the Philadelphia squad in tonight's championship game. You see the lights just warming up. The introductions were just completed, and that's why it's a little bit dim for your TV viewers. New England Blazers starting lineup.
Boucher, Stevens, Gower, Cataldo, and Fay with Yeager in the goal. Stevie Fay will be facing off.
The face-off will be very interesting as we see John Yeager starting, and they've worked that around differently throughout the years. We look at Yeager warming up. Steve, he's had success both ways. Frazier has started one, O'Neill sometimes, Yeager other times, but I think it's safe to say Dan O'Neill on the second team All-Pro MILL is his #1 guy. He's saving him for the second half.
Well, you talk about they start with Yeager last time against Philadelphia because O'Neill was traveling up from New York. They won that game. Maybe he's just going with that kind of rotation.
Look at the face-off now. It'll be #6, Scott Gabrielson. We'll talk about that matchup with Steve Fay, #31 for New England. And Steve Fay really got the draw, but possession not yet for New England. Finally, chased down in the corner, it's Cataldo. He comes right through the crease. Yeager watches him go through against tough defense by Gabrielson for Philadelphia. Their #1 face-off guy, Billy Durgel, the toughest in the league. Watch Cataldo in close. He scores!
Walter Cataldo starts it off right for New England. We talked about the face-off. Gabrielson had a great night against Stevie Fay last time they met. I think he won the first 5 face-offs. This time, Stevie Fay wins the face-off, and here comes Walter Cataldo. You will see him coming. Notice that he realizes he's bouncing it. He's taking it in strong. Now he's going to go low. There's one right between the 5 holes.
Tremendous shot by Cataldo, 1-0. The New England team getting off to a fast start. This is a team who hasn't played. This team has not played for 3 weeks, Steve. They were worried about the layoff. Looks like they've got fresh legs, if nothing else.
Right back in it. See Johnny Fay up at the top, back to Cataldo again.
Walt Cataldo gets the ball checked out of his stick. Philadelphia, the defending champion team, playing without their #1 player, John Tucker, who's here tonight, but not in uniform.
Cataldo on a moving pick.
Ball goes over to Philadelphia. Less than 1 minute into the first period of play, and it's already 1-0 New England. They got that first faceoff. I was starting to talk about Billy Durgel, who is the #1 faceoff guy for Philadelphia. He is not here tonight. Here goes Gabrielson. Every time I mention Durgel's name, somebody scores. Gabrielson comes right back, almost a very similar move to the move that Cataldo had. It's 1-all.
There you see Yeager. This is a Philadelphia fan. You see with the Flyers. Gabrielson, very similar to Cataldo, dropping the stick. You're going to see him coming in with the pass from Kotz. He's going to take it strong inside and then drop the head of the stick. 1-1. Philadelphia comes right back.
So showing the veteran-like calm that this team is exuded throughout last week's playoff and into this game, even without Tucker. This team knows how to win. Gabrielson in the faceoff. Billy Durgel, the #1 guy, not in the game. He's not here for this. He is so dominant as a faceoff man, but Gabrielson now getting this particular faceoff, that is on his shoulders. Kotz now waits as fresh legs come in, a fresh line for Philadelphia. They have just tied the score, and now with that next faceoff, they're in that controlled offense, Steve. This is what they like to do.
It's control the ball, move it around, spread it out. Everybody touch the ball, and then go right to the crease.
Tried to hit Brad Kotz on the crease. Didn't get him cleanly. He couldn't pick it up. And the ball bounced out of his stick. I believe it was Resch who picked it up and walked into the crease. It'll be New England Blazer ball. This is Tommy Carmian. We talked about what an impressive player he is. He came onto the squad in the third game. He has not experienced a loss in a Blazer uniform. Tries to hit the crease. The style of this New England team, Steve Glover, is one of run, gun, a lot of speed, and they use everybody on the offense. Kelly Carr. And a save by Metke. Kelly Carr came in. They're really working picks off that crease, looking for a lot of people to get involved with the offense.
This is a line where you have 4 very similar players in Carmian, Carr, Desko, and Chanichuk. Then you got big Rufus Clark setting picks, freeing them up.
Rufus Clark from Harvard. This is Chanachuk from Hopkins. Gets it way up top to Carmian. He waits for a screen and bounces one off a player in the crease. It was Mark Hahn, number 4, right in front of Metke. Bounced off his foot. Here comes Brad Kotz, the great all-pro player against Carmian. Carmian does not let him get his territory. Matt McGady now works it to the far side to Hahn. They give it down to Sweet Lou Delgatti, who's being played by Desko. Desko, a great player from the Syracuse University program. Sweet Lou Delgatti from Towson State gets it up top. A lot of scoring threats still on the Philadelphia squad, even though John Tucker, not a factor tonight, not in uniform. Delgatti.
You got McGeady and Curry out there. Both of them can put it in the hole.
Delgatti trying to go left-handed. He tucks it in, shoots, and what a save by Yeager.
Yeager throwing that elbow out there. Nice move by Delgatti.
Well, Lou has the size. He came right in, did a beautiful job. Here are your referees for tonight: Tamburino, Roy Condon, and Bruce Crawford, a veteran crew, 3 of the best in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, and they should be. This is the championship. Now McGady, we talked about him in the opening. He really can score in the playoffs. The ball came into Todd Curry, Steve, and a nice pickoff by Yeager.
Great defensive play by Tom Carmian. An attackman, you think his defense would be lacking. I think he's one of the best defensive players on the Blazer team.
Not getting a chance to show it in the college game, but here in indoor, you play both ends and you play them quickly. The Major Indoor Lacrosse League 1990 championship matchup between the regular season crowned New England Blazers and the Philadelphia Wings. This is Gagnon feeding into Schmitz. Peter Schmitz takes a left-handed shot, and Matke comes up with his shoulder to make the save. 1-1.
Nice two-man play between Gagnon and Schmitz.
Chris Flynn has knocked off the ball by Schmitz, who just missed that last shot. It's still 1-1 with about 5 minutes gone. That was the stick that knocked the net. Matke's stick hit it. No goal. Again, the score 1-1 with just under 11 minutes left in the first period. They try to get the ball in bounds very quickly. That's the style of the New England offense, Steve. They like to work it around, a lot of speed, a lot of motion.
You want to move the ball, free a man on the crease, get some motion offense.
This is Blanchard looking for help. Flynn is playing defense from University of Pennsylvania. A very tough customer Flynn is on the defensive end of the field. You might see him face off as well later on. This is Todd Francis, takes a shot, and Matke bounces it off, but Francis gets it back. No angle, but Francis somehow sneaks it in.
Todd Francis makes it 2-1 for New England.
Boy, I thought he had no chance to score, Steve. He came around and really surprised Metke.
Here he is. He's catching the ball around. He sees he's got an opening. Schmitz is getting out of his way. Right there, no one's picking him up. Jumps up, goes into the 5-hole. Little celebration here. Going to give it a pump.
So the score now 2-1 as they've swapped goals here, starting off with Cataldo, then Gabrielson for the Wings, and back to Francis for the Blazers. 2-1. And New England gets the next face-off. John Fay now, as we look at Boucher and Fay circling their arm. They're calling out a play.
See all pro selections right there, John Fay and Toby Boucher.
This year, the first year for the Major Indoor Lacrosse League to announce a first and second all-pro team for the 1990 season. Here's Boucher. He's got a left-handed shot. He rocks it off the pipe. Just missed picking up the third goal of the game for the Blazers. Here he comes again. Still has control.
Stepped in the crease.
Cut it too fine. Boy, but what a rocket shot he had out front. Matke had nothing to say about it. It just missed clearing the pipe. 9:27 left, 2-1 Blazers lead. This is first quarter action from the championship game. Lee Fells Malone with Steve Glover. And the crowd is ready for action. They've waited 3 weeks to see this team get their own chance for a world championship here in Worcester, Mass. Lines change for New England and Philadelphia. That's what Ron Frazier likes about playing Philadelphia. As we look at the whole team for New England instead of going and change with that little or no pressure. Philadelphia drops back. They'll wait for you to set up. They like to set up the defense patiently. They like to set up their offense patiently. They don't beat you with a big transition game.
They know coming in that New England likes to run. They're a fast team. They like to get back.
Kelly Carr trying to get it behind the goal. Matke comes back and just absolutely levels him. And they say they obstructed Now hold on here.
There's Carmian coming back with a strong hit. Metke looked like he was chopping wood back there. Kelly Carr's okay.
Bruce Crawford says they didn't give them time to really get that outlet pass. New England all over the Philadelphia Wings in the riding attempt. 2-1, they lead. 8:20 left, first period. There's a shot from Wilson. A great offensive hero for the Wings, but it was knocked away, and here comes the offense for the New England Blazers. Desko now gets it to Carmian. Carmian goes off the field. Fresh offensive line coming in there. And now we'll start looking for the shots. Gagnon tried to hit Kelly Carr. Kelly Carr didn't read it. Kelly Carr cut left, and Gagnon thought he was going to cut right. Could be a fast break, but the lines are changing. There's little or no help.
A lot of extracurriculars going on. Seeing a lot of slashing and then retaliation slashes going back and forth.
Philadelphia really out to defend their title. They're going to do it any way they can.
Wilson and Desko really going at it.
Philadelphia playing last week against New York. They had to win that one, and they did. 9-8 to get here. Shot in close. Knocked wide. So they've played lately, but New England really hasn't played in 3 weeks. And Steve, they don't practice every day. That's got to possibly hurt their conditioning for the indoor game. If you do it once or twice a week, you may not have the leg strength that you have during the season.
We'll see how it happens to coming down the third and fourth quarter. Talked about it being a fast team.
Saints now on the offense as they work the ball around. That was Holthouse taking the left-handed shot. Here's Todd Curry from Syracuse. Looking into the crease, he finds Flynn, and Flynn bounces one off the pipe.
On the pipe. Nice catch by a fan.
So a lot of shooting and scoring early, but not of late. 2-1, the Blazers lead. The quarter opened up with Cataldo scoring. Then it was Gabrielson answering to make it 1-1. Todd Francis put one in for the Blazers to give them that 1-goal lead. Timeout called at 6:51 left in the first quarter. And there's Dave Evans.
Both teams got a good run up and down the field. Evans calls the timeout. Evaluate what's going on, what we want to do, defensively as well as offensively, now that we see what both teams are doing.
Evans having to do a lot of coaching. As we look at Ron Frazier on the one side. Head coach, what a year he's had. He was 1-7 last year. They lost the first 2 games this year, and they haven't lost since. Ron Frazier has a team that is scorching red hot. Won the regular season by virtue of that win against Philadelphia during the regular season. Ended up 6-2 as well as Philadelphia. And now here they are hosting the championship game. Johnny Fay, All-Pro, first team. He starts the offense, calls a play, gives it over to Boucher, goes in, makes a cut. Players open to the crease. Fay comes back from after making the pick for the cut and gets the ball all the way across the cylinder, and the ball being pushed around, finally being picked up by Chris Flynn. Flynn with a nifty move to get out of harm's way. Fay playing defense. Now McGady gets back to Flynn. Over to Curry. Todd Curry sets up as fresh players come on. Ricky Freed calling a play from the far corner. And now we'll see what happens. Lehman now. Pat Lehman hits McGady. Back to Lehman. Looking for help. They're taking their time. They're switching lines. 6:02 left. Let's see the shot clock. Shot clock's down to 15. You've got a 45-second shot clock. They've got to hit the 4x4.
John Conley's got the ball.
Conley just came in off the bench.
That's plenty of time. 10 seconds for John Conley. He's a shooter.
And the shot clock down to 3-2. They're going to lose possession, and they do. You've got to hit. They've took their shots, but you've got to hit the 4x4 to reset that shot clock.
Metke smartly tosses the ball down the other end. Talking about John Conley, the shooter. He's got a nice face dodge. It freezes. He acts like he's shooting. He's faking it. And then it gets by a lot of players and then lets go that shot.
2-1, 5:30 left. And New England on the offense. Started out in rapid fashion. 3 quick goals. Chanachuk now moving it back and forth, but no scoring for the last 6 minutes. Kelly Carr tries to get it. He cannot against the tough defense of Pat Lehman. Carmine goes back to get it. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Carmine checks the scoreboard. He's got to look behind the goal to see the shot clock, though. Carr in close to Clark, and Rufus Clark just couldn't quite find the white net. Chanenchuk gets it. 4th. Now they reset the shot clock. And Carmine has possession. For a moment they did not, and I thought they were going to run out of time. Check there beautifully. Here goes the transition game for Philadelphia. Gabrielson all alone on Carmine. Carmine wraps him up. Drops the stick so he doesn't get a penalty. Now he has to pick back up on that stick, and he does, and gets the ball. Nice play by Carmine.
Nice play by Carmine. He fell down, lost the ball. Gabrielson had about 5 yards on him. He caught up to him, takes the ball away, gave it back to his goalie.
Line shifts again for New England, and Ron Frazier is having an easy time at that because Philadelphia is dropping in, not letting New England beat them on a transition game. And that may end up paying dividends later in the game for Philadelphia because New England certainly can burn teams with their speed. Ball still out of control in the corner. The crowd waiting for something to happen. This crowd is ready to get electrified, but they want their team to start cranking up the offense. Ricky Freed comes down for Philadelphia against Lloyd Byrne and 3 other Blazers. So he turns back, gives it up to Kotz all the way over to Martin. Martin comes in, takes the defensive hit, and drops it in. And they're going to say a goal. Tamburino says a goal, and he was absolutely right, Steve. The goal was knocked off of the plane, the marking on the turf, but the ball did hit the surface and bounce into the corner.
Into the back of the net.
2-2.
Gary Martin, All-American out of Penn State. Watch his face dodge. He's going to take it that extra step right in there and tuck it in. That's a goal. Right
no question about it.
Tiptoeing on the goal crease.
There's a good look at Martin, and he did a beautiful job of getting Yeager to lean all the way to his right and commit. Yeager was way out of position. He was leaning on the net. The net's not anchored, so you saw it move a little bit. But Martin had already bounced that shot up into the left-hand corner. 2-2 with 3:30 left, first period.
Gary Martin, 6th goal of the year.
Johnny Fay for the Blazers.
Offense now for the New England Blazers. This is Boucher. Toby Boucher coming in looking for an opening, but Hahn plays great defense against him. Kotz playing defense now against Gower. Gower comes in with a left-handed shot. The ball bounced out. Here comes Kotz. Brad Kotz. Nobody can catch him. He's off. It'll be a one-on-one. Kotz comes in, fakes, shoots, and a save by John Yeager. Wow, there was an all-pro player beating down on John Yeager, and he stood in there and deflected the shot.
Brad Kotz coming in. John Gower, one of the fastest players. He couldn't catch him.
Brad Kotz from Syracuse showing why he's first-team All-Pro, voted by the players and coaches. Here's Chanenchuk now. 2:37 left, game tied at 2. That drop-back, pack-it-in defense confusing a little bit to New England.
Great defense by Gary Martin.
Martin really just bottled them up. Philadelphia content, Steve, to just drop it in, pack it in, and not give them that transition, that middle of the field. And so far, it looks to be a little bit frustrating to the New England Blazers. Matt McGady now comes in with that long hair flying, looking to get the offense going for Philadelphia. He was 1-1 last week, 1 goal, 1 assist against New York. Here's Todd Curry, comes in, he'll have a shot, and Yeager makes the save. Almost lost it, almost scored.
Curry coming in strong with a nice shot.
Chanenchuk to Carr, Kelly Carr scores, 3-2 Blazers.
Chanenchuk to Carr, Kelly Carr doing the best thing he could possibly do right there, and that is just shoot it. He got a nice pass by Bruce Chanenchuk, caught the ball, practically a quick stick. There's the replay. Bruce Chanenchuk always with his head up. Kelly Carr with 2 men right there, wide, try to get through him. Metke waiting for him to come through.
So now the face-off. We'll take a short break. The score 3-2. The Blazers lead, 1:40 left. Stay with us. There we are, 3-2. That's the score with 1:43 left in the first period. This is the World Championship for the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, and Steve, the action is hot and heavy.
He's coming in. The thing to do right there is shoot, like I said before, Kelly Carr putting it away.
And Matke couldn't make that save. That was one of those transition-type goals, a lot of movement, a lot of green space in front of Matke for the first time. They got some of that green space, and they really took advantage of it. 3-2, the Blazers lead. It's been a seesaw battle. Cataldo started things off for New England. Gabrielson answered for the Wings. Then it was Francis for the Blazers. Then it was Martin for the Wings, and now Kelly Carr. As we look at Ron Frazier getting his team, he doesn't mind swapping goals as long as he's on the top end of it.
You got it. Kelly Carr, that was his 12th goal, which ties him with Toby Boucher for the team lead.
Sweet Lou Delgado gets it out to Brad Kotz. Now over to Todd Curry, the two Syracuse boys working a combination there. That'll be a combination that'll have to work in the absence of John Tucker not playing. He hoped he would, but he cannot. Martin comes in, takes a shot wide. Shot clock still counting down, 14-13. Now it resets because of the possession loss, but they still haven't cleared the ball. Watch out for Martin. He's looking for help, takes a shot and bounces it off of Steve Fay.
Steve Fay playing a little goaltending there.
Less than a minute left, first period. Curry again with that first string offensive unit. Kotz now taking his time. He wants to be overplayed. He feels he can go ahead and beat the man. There he takes that left-handed rocket shot. Many of the coaches will tell you, Steve, that they think Brad Kotz is the purest or the most pure shooter in the league.
He's got that stick that doesn't have much of a pocket.
A lot of excitement
trying
here.
To find the camera.
A lot of excitement here at the Centrum, Steve. We got the, hopefully we can see him later on. What do they call, what does he call himself? The mascot over there?
Oh, the Blazer Man.
The Blazer Man in section 121, or right below section 121, 122. The Blazer Man wears a helmet, a Blazer uniform, and he pounds that stick up there in the seats.
We'll get a shot of him before the game's over.
Johnny Fay now sits at the offense, 16 seconds. They're going to try to get one shot before the period's up. 13-12, counting down. 3-2, they lead. They get it in close. Now out front. 8-7, the crowd counting him down. They need a shot. Boucher comes in, takes the shot, but a save by Metke. His time runs out.
2 seconds left. What a great shot. What a great move to get the shot up on cage by Toby Boucher.
That shot goes wide by Wilson, but the period ends. Hey, what about that crowd here at the Worcester Centrum? They love it. Frazier has a 3-2 lead, his New England Blazers do. And they're holding on against a very seasoned defending champion Philadelphia Wings squad. We'll be back with second quarter action. Stay with us. Just ready to start the second quarter. Leif Elsmo and Steve Glover, the World Championship for the Major Indoor Lacrosse League in New England, scoring first in this game, holding on to a 3-2 lead.
Here's Toby Boucher, all-pro. He's going to come in, take it strong. A great shot.
And this was the last seconds of the first quarter. That was the last shot they took of the quarter, beautifully timed by the New England squad. And here you go, Cataldo starting out, and New England, or the Philadelphia squad, though, answering every offensive push so far.
They've been trading goals. Cataldo, Gabrielson, Francis, back to Martin, and then Kelly Carr to his 12th.
So we're getting ready. 3-2 is right. Getting ready to start that second quarter. The face-off men remain the same. Number 31 for New England is Steve Fay. He wins that battle. He's been pulling the draw. Gabrielson lost it, but look at, he now has the ball. So Fay has been pulling the draw back, but that particular situation, it was back to a Philadelphia player, so they end up getting possession. Ricky Freed from Towson State now looking all the way across. They're finding Pat Lehman, played at Loyola. Freed will shoot from there. The left hand, he finds the corner on Yeager, all tied at 3.
You see Freed from about 20 yards out front. He just lets it fly. Nothing fancy, just smoke. Right by Yeager. There you see Johnny.
Yeager didn't budge, Steve. I think he thought the angle was closed down.
He gets the ball up here. Freed, he's a good 20 yards out. No one in front of him. I think you're right. I think he had that pipe, his hand on that pipe, but it squeezed right inside of it.
Well, going according to form as far as the first quarter, that is, because they've answered every score of New England. So Philadelphia not in the least rolling over because of some of their key players not being able to make this championship game. They've got injuries that are hurting them, but this team is ready. They are the defending champions, and they're tied now at 3 with most of the second quarter left. Brad Kotz, here we go, shots on goal, and pretty even, Steve.
Pretty much even. Philadelphia with a 2-shot advantage.
Philadelphia now. Gary Martin looking around, trying to get it over the side. He does, and Philadelphia scores the first 2 in a row to take the lead. Wilson scoring. We talked about him being an offensive hero. He scores the 4th goal, and Philly leads by 1.
Andy Wilson, we're talking about him up at the front of the show, number 55. He hits his 14th goal of the season. You're going to see a nice pass. Watch him. He's just going to let it fly. Big right-hand shot. Andy Wilson, his 14th. Puts the Wings up 4-3.
Conley now in a face-off for Philadelphia. It's a different face-off man. It was Gabrielson for the first quarter and the first face-off of this quarter. Here's Conley now in there against Steve Fay, who was a face-off specialist. And Steve Fay a little slow to react to that ground ball. They call him for a push. It'll go to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia has owned the second quarter, although it's only a minute old.
2 quick goals.
Brad Kotz now. This is what they do so well. They slow things down, and I'm sure that can be frustrating to the New England team who likes to run and gun. Matter of fact, you hear a lot of cheering. It could be from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Saved by Yeager. You look around, you just heard a Wings chant.
Yeah,
so
let's
Philadelphia.
go Wings. Let's go Wings. They have some people up.
Philadelphia has an amazing following. They sell out so frequently down there at the Spectrum, and they bring a couple thousand fans with them to these games, and they're pretty vocal here tonight.
They sold out their last playoff game against New York, 17,700 at the Spectrum.
Blanchard now trying to even the score. They're down by 1. New England just falling behind for the first time. Gagnon trying to make a move, but giving up no ground as the Philadelphia Wings defense. And that was Gary Martin, who did a beautiful job of not sacrificing body position. Martin beating 2 players. Schmitz is the last one he beats. He looking for help out front. And now here's Hahn. Left-handed shot. 3 in a row for Philadelphia.
Hahn lets it fly, but give credit to Gary Martin. Great hustle playing defense. Picked the ball up. Ran all the way back behind the net and found Hahn. You see him there getting the high fives.
And this team is fired up. The bench is absolutely going crazy.
Good, nice look-away pass by Martin. And he's going to get a nice pass to Hahn, and he fires it in there. And you saw how psyched up he was. When they announced his name at the beginning, even though it's in New England, he sprinted down the field, screaming and yelling and pointing at all the fans. He's ready to play tonight. He's
an energized player and one of the veterans on that Philadelphia squad. Boy, they are here to play 3 straight in the second quarter. They lead 5-3. They opened up the second quarter down by 1. They've taken over since then. John Fay comes in. He made a great move, but had nothing left for that shot. And a little bit of enforcement there. We'll see if there's a call on that or not. Nope. John Fay really didn't retaliate. He wanted to go ahead and bait a penalty.
Get a penalty.
But Bruce Crawford not going to go that way this time. Crawford, the referee, didn't go see it that way. Here's McGady. 5-3. Philadelphia in the gray and black leading.
Philadelphia, 3 goals in the last 3 minutes. It's been all Philadelphia.
McGady with a shot from out front, and Yeager a little bit, maybe surprisingly, has let some of those shots from outside go in. I suspect if you get another goal in, you're going to see Mr. Dan O'Neill come in this game pretty quickly. Yeager with a very hot, very good first quarter, but maybe switching ends here has not done him any justice. He's not having as much success down here at this end. Ball loose. Boucher picks it up. Boucher looking to clear it. Here go the Wheels. They finally get a little bit of running going in. New England looking to run it. They do. Stevens can't pick it up, though. Ball comes in, and Philadelphia drops back beautifully. All the way across to Boucher. McGady is going to play defense on him. So now they have to pull back again, Steve, and really set up their offense, something they don't like to do. And Philadelphia, I think, is doing a great job of frustrating New England by making them play their tempo.
New England wants to run and gun every time they try. There's always the Philadelphia team's already back in the hole.
Ball loose. It could be trouble if somebody can pick it up. Everybody playing bodies. Nobody gets the ball. And now finally Carmine does all the way across. This will be the shot. And Carr takes one wide to the goalie Metke's left. Rufus Clark down low. Carmine looking for help. Into the crease, and a good shot again by, that was Desko, who went just wide of the 4x4. Whoa, good pressure series there on Metke.
Got a few shots off.
No goals, though. They're still down by 2. 5-3. Philadelphia leads. 10:40 left, second period. Gabrielson gives it off to Conley. I'll tell you what, this is the Wings contingent cheering. I think they've got the Centrum fans stunned and a little bit intimidated, not only on the field, but in the stands. A wraparound shot by Gabrielson just missed the far pipe. Now a little bit of running gun action.
They get someone open.
Lobs it up. Couldn't quite find Carmine.
Great defensive play by Greg Manley.
Manley all the way back out to Ricky Freed, who scored this quarter. And they reset here. Philadelphia does. Hard shot by Conley, but he's nailed by Desko to take a little bit of the steam off it. And now New England really stepping up the physical aspect.
We saw solid hit. Greg Manley's getting up slow, running over to the bench.
Chanenchuk now brings the ball down for New England. I think Ron Frazier has turned up the heat on the sideline a little bit because New England looks like they're playing a little more physical in the last 5 minutes.
Get a penalty, a hold. Bruce Chanenchuk bringing it in the side.
Well, that'll be the first penalty of the game as we look at Dave Evans on the sideline. 5-3, the Philadelphia squad in gray and black. They're leading. There's DeChico. 9:40 left. And there's Dan O'Neill. He's an all-pro goalie waiting to get into this game. And I'll tell you what, he is ready. John Yeager started, and Frazier will stay with him as long as he thinks it pays dividends for his squad.
Ricky Freed's going to get 2 minutes for holding, 13 on 13.
So it's going to be the first power play opportunity of the game, and New England gets it, and they need it. They're down by 2 here in the second quarter. Plenty of time. Let's see what they work against the defense of Philadelphia. 5-1-4. They get it in close. Beautifully orchestrated. Boy, they had that one scouted, Steve. They had the shot, just couldn't pull it off.
Nice man up. You had Walter Cataldo right on the corner. Solid hit. New England picks the ball up.
So New England now reloads on the power play. 1:34 left on the power play. Inside again to Cataldo. Boy, they found an opening there on the crease. Again, they must have scouted something there. They're getting the openings, but not making them pay dividends in the form of goal.
Philadelphia throws it away.
1:23 left in the penalty. Plenty of time. 5-1-4 here. Power play for the New England Blazers. This is John Fay out to Tommy Carmine. He really pushes it in very close to Matke, but Matke absorbs that one. And again, Philadelphia comes up and they can burn off some time. Ball lobbed up to Martin. Martin could be an offensive threat here. He pulls back against the defense of John Fay. All-pro player all the way into Todd Curry, and what a save by Yeager.
What a great pass. Gary Martin to Todd Curry. Todd Curry in one-on-one. Could have a car right here.
All alone. Can't beat Metke. What a play by Metke. Now back to Johnny Fay. Johnny Fay shoots and Metke again with the save.
Putting some pressure on. They get the shots.
What was that? Carmine takes another shot, and Metke, you talked about him, Steve. They had not seen Metke. He was the difference against New York to get Philadelphia to this game. He had 39 saves last week, and he's the difference in the second quarter.
It's just an excellent save on Kelly Carr one-on-one.
He had about 3 excellent saves in the span of 30 seconds. Taking over the game, Dwight Metke. 13 seconds left on the penalty. And they give the ball back to Philadelphia, so they've effectively burned out this penalty. They've killed it beautifully. Here's Brad Cox. He'll shoot. He comes in against Yeager. Yeager makes the save. Goes off of Yeager into the net, so that'll be possession to Philadelphia. But what a nice job. 4 seconds left on the penalty, but with Philadelphia having possession, they will kill the penalty. McGady now against Cataldo, now against Blanchard. McGady not that big, very strong though. And Conley shoots from out front. Got to watch that McGady. You like to call him slippery, Steve, and that's what he is.
I guess he'll get in between the cracks. We saw him a nice pass over to Conley. Conley, he's got the cannon on that team.
The defending champion Philadelphia Wings, undermanned with a couple of their star players hurt, not able to play. They lead 5-3, taking the lead in the second quarter. They're the only team that has scored in the second quarter. They've scored 3 straight goals. 7 minutes left, though, in the second quarter of championship play.
Little pick and roll. Roy Condon calling a moving pick. New England getting a chance to change up lines.
And they do so as they get their offense going with 6:47 left.
Peter Schmitz.
New England needs a goal badly. Schmitz now looking for help on the crease. He's going right, then left, looks to the far side of the cylinder, gets help in close. Todd Francis, who has scored already. No help for him, though. Kelly Carr is the last guy who has scored for New England. As we look at Metke, that's the guy who's been the difference so far. Here comes Todd Francis.
You can find Gagnon.
Here comes Blanchard. No defense on him. Hahn comes behind, though. We'll look at the speed of Hahn. Beautiful job. And
nice check by Peter Schmitz.
Excellent job. Ricky Freed had the ball, did not sense Schmitz behind him. 5-3. Philadelphia still leads. 6 minutes left. Schmitz now looking over to Gagnon. Gagnon trying to work some cutting offense out in front. Gets it inside to Lloyd Byrne.
Great play by Freed. Over the head check.
You had a sense Lloyd Byrne might have a big night tonight, Steve Glover.
He's in playing for injured Jack Piatelli. He's played a couple games earlier in the season, but this is his first game in a couple. He hasn't played in a couple games, so you never know what's going to happen.
Ricky Freed gets it in close. Back to Hahn. Hahn shoots, but a good save by John Yeager. And Frazier, Coach Ron Frazier for New England, staying with Yeager and may pay dividends if he can get out of this quarter. All he needs is a goal or two. They're still very close.
Great play by Metke. He just saved a goal right there.
He came way out of the goal to do it. Conley comes in, shoots, and the ball bounced wide. 5:13 left. Metke really plays the full court well. Now let's see what the call will be for Roy Condon. It hit the opened box area where they were switching players right to the right of that Coke sign.
Tell you, Metke right there, I thought saved the goal. If he didn't come out there, Cliff Blanchard would have caught it. He was halfway. He was out of the goal.
Situation was one of those lob shots, Steve, where New England was really using their speed, and he came out to cut it down. Carmine with the left-handed shot just missed the net. And here on the other end is pretty much the same situation where
Yeager's got to come on to get that one.
Absolutely. 4:45 left. 5-3 lead for Philadelphia in the gray. This is New England working the ball around into the crease, and another shot on Metke is turned back. What a game Metke's having.
Behind the back shot, Dave Desko. Metke coming up with the save.
Gabrielson now for Philadelphia. We'll see if they change players. McGady, they're waving him off. They will get some fresh legs on there. Scott Gabrielson, good size as he gives it off to Ricky Freed. Now a player coming in fresh, and a hard shot by Wilson. Boy, he came off the bench just wanting the ball and took a shot on the move. Freed sneaks it into the crease to Gabrielson, but knocked down by New England. Possession lost by Rufus Clark, and Philadelphia will get it back. So they'll take a timeout on the field right now with 4 minutes left. It's 5-3. Philadelphia leads. We'll take a short break and come back with our second quarter action. Again, 4 minutes to go, and Philadelphia, the defending champions, holding on to a slim 2-goal lead. We're back at the 1990 Major Indoor Lacrosse World Championship, and there's some of the equipment that the players use, including those two sticks. And those sticks are the hottest things you can get, just like the ones they use here on the field. That's the Turbo on the left there for STX, and Brine, the one on the right, is the Superlight 2+2, the hottest sticks in lacrosse today. STX Turbo and the Superlight 2+2 for Brine. Back to action, 4 minutes left, 5-3, and Philadelphia just calming things down. They are very composed, Steve.
Well, they scored the first 3 goals of the second period, all in the first 3 minutes. And for the last 7 minutes, there's been no scoring, but just kind of sense a calm to them.
They know what to do to win. They've been there, the defending champs. And incidentally, here comes Stevens in, and he shoots. He scores, finds the lower left corner. 5-4. Back to within 1.
Glenn Stevens getting a shot right there. When I saw him cutting down, I said, I haven't seen Glenn Stevens in the game yet. I'm not sure whether that's because he hasn't made any plays or he hasn't been playing, but here you see him as he catches it. He takes it right to a big goal, a little dasher dance.
Stevens brings the Blazers back to within one, 5-4, and the place wakes up. The Centrum does. They're rocking.
Glenn Stevens, a big reason he had that overtime goal against Detroit. And 2 big goals against Philadelphia.
Steve Fay again faced off for New England, and New England does get possession. It was Chris Flynn. That's the 3rd different face-off man that Philadelphia has used. Again, normally it's Bill Durgill, who is absolutely and without question the best in the league. He is dominant in that position. Unable to be here tonight. Could cost Philly as the game wears on. Shot in close on Metke. And he makes a nice save there. Not much of an angle for a right-handed shot from that wing.
No, he caught it, turned around, was already committed.
Flynn now brings it down, sets up the Philly offense. They'll take their time. Oh, no. Hard shot from the wing. They looked like they were going to settle the offense and took a hard shot. Maybe Yeager was waiting for them to settle down, too, because he just took a hard shot that bounced past Yeager.
Todd Curry. Take another look at it. Johnny Yeager. Philadelphia comes right back. Here you see Flynn's going to bring the ball down. And watch Curry coming in here. That's about the 3rd goal we've seen from that area, pretty far out.
And Yeager not having much luck down there with those outside shots. On the other end, he seemed to have it under control. Down on this end, in the second quarter, outside shots are really beating John Yeager. 6-4, the score. Here comes Gagnon, comes all the way in, takes the right-handed shot. Beautiful save by Metke.
To the point of no return, Tommy Gagnon, he had to take it in there.
He let it all go, didn't he?
Get to that point where it's, you have to go. You saw he had to go in the crease afterwards. Here it is right here. Right there, he has to go right there. He's going right to the crease. He gets the push by Rush. There you see Metke coming up with a big save. Good defensive play. Good play, all 3 positions. Defensively, Tommy Gagnon bringing it in, and Metke with a nice save.
Tots now getting the offense for Philadelphia in motion. 6-4, they lead by 2. They've owned the second quarter. 2:26 left in that second quarter of World Championship play. Todd Curry takes a shot. The ball bounces high and wide. Conley now back to McGady. All the way across to Todd Curry. He quick sticks in the 7th goal.
Conley to McGady to Curry. Those are 3 quick passes. You know, those guys know what it's like to work together. Curry, back-to-back goals. Watch this. Conley gets the quick pass. He just picked that up to McGady, who looks right across over to Curry. Curry wasting no time. You didn't even see that shot. It was in the goal.
Second goal, second straight goal for Todd Curry. 7-4, back to a 3-goal cushion for the Philadelphia Wings. Matter of fact, that's the first 3-goal cushion of the night. Johnny Fay gets the face-off. His brother Steve Fay doing a beautiful job of winning the draw. 2 minutes left.
Play. Great defensive play on John Fay. Walt came in, Walt Cataldo, you see him right there, came in afterwards, but he got called from behind.
Philadelphia showing championship style here. Forced to play in an away arena because they lost the 1 game during the season right here. New England trying to win their first world championship. Back to Gower. He's looking up, can't find anybody, so he circles back. 1:35 left in the second quarter. 7-4, Philadelphia leads, and this is New England with the ball. They need to score here to close that gap. Working in close on Matke, but beautiful defense by Gabrielson. Takes the shot out of Matke's way. Push call. Ball goes back to New England. 1:20 left, second period. Here comes Boucher. Toby Boucher, tremendous player who puts it right into Matke's stick. Now let's see what the call is.
Timeout, Philadelphia.
Timeout call by Philadelphia. And here's that move on Metke as we look at a replay of the offense of New England.
Boucher taking it strong, the left-handed shot. And Metke's got the answer.
So 7-4 the score, 1:14 left. And you talk about who were the champions in the first 3 years of the league. Let's take a look. the Thunder, and that year in '87 they beat Washington. They were the 4th team in a 4-team league and won through the playoff system, ended up being world champions. Then it was the Saints in '88 who beat that Washington squad, who has now moved to Pittsburgh. That franchise has moved. And in '89, Philadelphia beats the Saints 11-10.
Now look at all the scores: 11-10, 17-16, 11-10, all one-goal games.
And Ron Frazier anticipates that this game will be a close one as well. 3-goal lead right now by the Philadelphia Wings. In the first quarter, it was seesaw back and forth, but the second quarter, as we look at John Yeager, has been all Philadelphia. And John Yeager, as we watch him get set for the second quarter action, has had trouble, Steve, really tracking those outside shots.
On the outside, he made a couple outstanding shot saves, one-on-one, but he's those 3 goals from the outside.
Under 1 minute left in the second quarter, and New England will have the ball and a chance to get that lead of Philadelphia's back to within 2. That's their goal right here. Just get the 1. Janechuk from Hopkins brings it down. He's going against Wilson, looking for help on the crease. The cylinder switch on the defense puts him against another Wings play, and that's a moving pick. And the ball will go to Philadelphia, I believe. Wait a minute. They're going to send him into the box.
Rufus Clark coming in with a moving pick. I'd like to take a look at that. I don't understand.
Well, it must have been something off the ball. As we look at Bruce Crawford talking to Gabrielson. And Todd Curry really appealing to Roy Condon. It might have been off the ball. Can you pick it up, Steve?
Rufus Clark looked like he was coming in to set a pick, and he set an outstanding pick. He put, I think it was DeSico on his butt. I'm not sure if it was him or Curry.
Well, DeSico's in the box for 2 minutes. So whatever the...
And that last play...
Slashing is the call.
Rufus slashing. When he went down, he must have taken a shot with the stick. Must have gave him a slash. Retaliation.
John Fay now on the wing. Carmine's out in front. Carmine can't handle it. This is trouble. 26 seconds left in the second period. Carmine now with it. They want possession. Here comes a shot. Johnny Fay, the All-Pro.
Fay taking it in. Gets him back within 2. With 21 seconds left. The man-up situation. We haven't seen many of them. Here you saw how New England moved the ball well. And John the General Fay gets him back within 2. He's coming in. Just throwing some heat.
And it really took his time and really positioned this shot, Steve.
Let's take another look. Boucher over to Carmine. Over to Fay. See, he had a lot of net to shoot at. Mickey was still on the far side. Philadelphia right back.
Philadelphia comes in. Yeager made the initial save, but it bounced in off of Yeager, and Philadelphia, in the span of 4 seconds, brings the game back to a 3-goal margin, 8-5, and what a backbreaker that is for the Blazers.
Right off the faceoff, Chris Flynn. Here you'll see it, nice 2-on-1 play. He fakes Yeager. Yeager makes the original save. And pumps in, you see it hit the back of the net.
Looks like it bounced off his left thigh. He got his leg on it. But Flynn had too much of the opened area. He had the good angle. 8-5, 3-goal lead again for Philadelphia. And boy, that has really got to have you thinking and talking to yourself if you're a New England Blazer.
That was Flynn's 10th goal of the season.
8 seconds left, second period. And it looks like Philadelphia is going to call a timeout. They've got 8 seconds. They can get another shot. They did get possession. That was the first thing. Now they're talking and trying to figure it out. Chris Flynn looking to decide. If they got possession, they wanted to call a timeout and get that last shot. And here they go. Good hard check by Blanchard. 2-1. Second quarter action ends, and that was Blanchard against Wilson. A little bit of push and shove there. But that will do it for the first half of play here in the 1990 Major Indoor Lacrosse League Championship game. 8-5 is the score. we'll get a chance now very quickly to talk to, hopefully, Dave Evans. Well, we'll hopefully get to talk to Dave Evans. We'll go to a break right now and get into our halftime here of championship action. Philadelphia leading 8-5. Halftime, and the Philadelphia Wings, they are the defending champions. No team has repeated as champion in the 4-year history. Very quick interview with Dave Evans before he goes in and joins his team. They have a 3-goal lead, and that is surprising a lot of the hometown crowd. Dave Evans joins us down on the field. And Dave, you look like the Philadelphia Wings have done a wonderful job of controlling tempo.
Yeah, we've tried to pick the pace up a little bit. I know last time we were up here, our offense was very, very sluggish. We walked the ball up the floor. We wanted to pick the pace up. I honestly don't believe we can run with New England for a full 60 minutes, but I think we can run with them when the opportunity presents itself. And that's what we've tried to do in that first half.
And on the defensive end of the field, you're packing it in beautifully.
Yeah, we're packing in. I think we can still put a little more pressure on the ball. We've given them a couple of pretty easy feeds, but I think that's something we can adjust at halftime, hopefully.
How about Matke? Is he going the whole distance?
Yeah, he'll go the distance. He went the distance last week. He's pretty much recovered from his collarbone injury, so he'll go the whole distance, unless, of course, he starts playing poorly. And I have complete confidence in Kevin Bilger. He'll go in if we need him.
All right, join your team, and congratulations for a good first half. Dave Evans.
Thanks very much.
All right, the coach of Philadelphia, tremendous job. It was New England getting on top early in the first quarter, 3-2, but it was all Philadelphia in the second quarter. They scored in bunches, 6 goals in the second quarter to only 2 for the New England Blazers, and that's where they showed their experience. A tremendous job to get that 8-5 lead. You know, the league has had a tremendous year in 1990. I had a chance to talk to a very special part of that success as our halftime guests. Welcome back to the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts. A real grudge match between two fine teams in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, and they are playing for the 1990 championship. It's my pleasure now at halftime to introduce you to Russ Klein, who is Senior Vice President of the Mill, also a co-owner. And Russ, when you look at the 1990 season, you've got to be very happy.
We're very excited because, first of all, we've got the best attendance we've ever had. We literally this year was asked to defend our credibility, which means we've got some. And it's just been very exciting to see a team like New England come back in here. Last year was 1-7, 6-2, an expansion team, to see the excitement in this community, and then to see a team like Philadelphia that won the World Championship has an opportunity now to repeat something no one's ever done.
Another reason to be proud this year is that for the first time, the Major Indoor Lacrosse League has an all-pro team.
We have some of the greatest players in pro athletics out there playing, and it's really nice to be able to recognize the greatness that these guys have worked all their life for. They were especially proud to be a part of this because the coaches recommended players and the players themselves voted on who was the very best, and we chose 12 of the very best athletes in the world, and particularly in indoor lacrosse.
All right, let's take a moment now and give you a closer look at the 1990 Major Indoor Lacrosse All-Pro players. And here's your first team selections. Brad Kotz and John Tucker from Philadelphia, Ricky Soule from Baltimore, John Fay from New England, Brian Mikula from Pittsburgh, and Ted Sawicki from Detroit. Second team, Toby Boucher from New England, Timmy Welsh from Baltimore, Don Borges from New York, Ronnie Martinello from Detroit, Dave Pietramala from Pittsburgh, and Dan O'Neill from New England. A closer look now at the first team. Brad Kotz, what a player he is. Tremendous. Third year in the MILL. Watch his moves here. Last season, Kotz finished as the MILL scoring leader with 44 points. He continued this year, 11 goals, 8 assists, a tremendous offensive player, a key to the success of Philadelphia. Johnny Tucker, also first-team pick. This is Tucker's 4th season with the Wings, a team captain and a leader. He led the Wings in scoring with 13 goals, 10 assists, and finished in the MIL scoring very high, averaging 2.9 points a game. Look at the moves on John Tucker. Tremendous player. Then Ricky Soule out of Baltimore. What a year he had. His 3rd year in the league. Served the last 2 with the Baltimore Thunder. This season, he led the Thunder in scoring with 16 goals, 15 assists. Watch the move here. He comes around, shows power, speed, has all the tools. Then John Fay from New England on the first team as well. John Fay, what can you say? Everything. And look at this shot. The feed comes in away from the goal, facing the opposite direction. He flips it behind the back, scores. This was against the Philadelphia team earlier in the season. John Fay, a team leader, first team All-Pro. Then the only rookie to make the team, Brian Nicula from Pittsburgh, a Canadian product and a scoring machine. Brian Nicula can do it all. This guy has the moves, a natural left-hander. Watch how he uses his patented dunk move there, comes over the top of Ted Sawicki and scores against Detroit. Here he is again, showing that he can score from the outside. The leading scorer in the MILL this year as a rookie, Brian Nicula. And then in the goal, Ted Sawicki in his second year out of Detroit. And here he is again against Brian Nicula. We'll show now how he went to school on that move. Later in that same game, here's Ted Sawicki making all the saves against the great offense of Brian Nicula. Sawicki, first team All-Pro, working here for Detroit. He really set the standard for goalies as he came into the league last year with the Detroit Turbos. There again, making a beautiful save. And here are your second team players. Toby Boucher from New England, tremendous year, 12 goals, 6 assists, selected Coors Light MVP in his 4-goal performance against the Blazers February 3rd. Timmy Welsh from Baltimore, another great offensive player, 12 goals, 12 assists, and it was second on that team behind Ricky Soul. Borges, great offensive player from the New York Saints squad. He is on the second team. Ronnie Martinello, part of that offensive squad from Detroit. Dave Pietramala out of Pittsburgh makes the second team All-Pro. And then Dan O'Neill from New England, he's playing tonight. He rounds out the second team. That'll do it. We'll be back with more halftime after this short break. Back at the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts, Leif Elsmo along with Steve Glover, the 1990 World Indoor Lacrosse World Championship, showcasing the equipment right there. Of course, the STX Turbo and the 2+2 Super Lights from Brine, two of the best sticks in the lacrosse world. There's your score, 8-5. The Wings ahead. They are the defending world champions. No champion has repeated in this Major Indoor Lacrosse League, and they would be the first with a 3-goal lead. They might do it, Steve. They look pretty good.
Big difference. At the beginning of the second period, they scored 3 quick goals in the first 3 minutes of the game, and that's been the difference, 3 goals.
They swapped goals in the first quarter, but then, as you said, they really turned it on in the second. This is the last goal by New England, and of course it was Mr. All-Everything, John Fay.
There you see just Toby Boucher over to Carmian. It's a man-up situation, sliding. You see Metke's out of the position right there, and Fay putting a little extra on it to get it there quicker. Scores the 5th goal for the Blazers.
And then, about 5 seconds later, this was off the face-off.
Right back, Todd Curry.
There's Chris Flynn off the face-off, just brought it right down, I believe.
Yeah, oh, that's Chris Flynn. Curry's was the goal before.
Yeah, Curry scored a pair before John Fay did. John Fay looked like he got New England back into it, but this goal right here could be the one. As we look back, in another hour, Steve, we may look back and say this goal we're looking at right now was the one that broke the back of the New England Blazers. Absolutely. It has to take the wind out of your sails. Here are the stats for the first half.
You see this shot, the score 8-5 shots. The Wings up by 4, 22 man up. New England's gotten 2 chances. Wings haven't got any yet. The Blazers scored on one of those, the goal we saw by Fay. Saves. Yeager with 14, Metke with 13 penalty minutes. As you see, 4 minutes for the Wings. Blazers haven't been penalized yet.
So the game very close. Shots a little bit to the advantage of Philadelphia, but they have not had any extra man opportunity. And you've got to think back to the play of John Yeager. John Yeager not really getting a good look at those outside shots once they switched goals. He had trouble eyeing those outside shots.
Well, we'll see Dan O'Neill coming on strong in the second half. He's an All-Pro selection.
We'll take a short break right now and come back with that second half of action from the 1990 championship game of the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Back at the Worcester Centrum, the 1990 Major Indoor Lacrosse League World Championships. It's Philadelphia, the defending champion, against the New England Blazers. And the Blazers are the Cinderella team of the year. 2 losses to start the year. They went on a 6-game win streak. You see they're down by 3, but in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, that does not mean that you're down by much. Joining us right now, Ron Frazier, the coach of this great team from New England. And Ron, first quarter, you guys were doing pretty good. Second quarter, Philadelphia owns it.
Well, it's almost like we fell asleep out there. Like they went in the locker room, we hopefully left a wake-up call for them the second half. We just stopped running in the second quarter. I don't have an explanation for it, but we sure tried to address it out there at the halftime.
Well, they are doing a good job, as you mentioned, controlling tempo. It looks like you guys sort of fell into their trap. It looks like, though, that Jaeger was having some trouble with the outside shots. What's the goalie situation in the second half?
Well, we're going to start with Dan O'Neill in the second half. That was our plan anyways. And Jaeger did have some problems in the first half, but it was defensively. We weren't picking up on the men. Our game plan was to push them out of their offense a little bit, press the game, and push them forward. We just didn't do that. So hopefully it will work out this half.
So no big changes other than tempo right now, right?
Well, we're going to push the tempo. I think we're in better shape, and we can't allow them to play that slow-down game. So we're going to push, push, push.
All right, get back to your team. Thank you very much, Ron Frazier. And he, the coach of the New England Blazers. Let's take a look at the second quarter scoring summary. We talked about the first quarter, Steve. It was 3-2, very even. They swapped goals. Look at the second quarter. The Wings owned it.
The first 3 goals in 3 minutes. 14:37, 14:01, and 12:51. Freed, Wilson, and Hahn. Stevens answered back with that. And then 2 great goals by Curry. Johnny Fay came back with 21 seconds left to cut it to 2. And then the heartbreaker for the Blazers, Flynn right back 8 seconds later with a goal to put them up 8-5.
So that was a tough one for him. And again, we may look at that Chris Flynn goal later in the fourth quarter and say, hey, that was the one that broke their back. But right now, 8-5 is the score. A 3-goal lead. And Dan O'Neill is going to start the second half. He's an All-Pro. And at some point in the second half, we'll take a look at the All-Pros that are playing in this game. There are 4 of them that are playing, Dan O'Neill being one from Ohio Wesleyan. I see John Tucker over there in the Philadelphia bench area. He's in street clothes. And O'Neill goes in. It all rests on his shoulders, but he's got to hope that his offense comes through for him. And here are the All-Pros playing tonight. Brad Kotz for Philadelphia with John Fay. Their first team All-Pro players for the MILL. And below them, Toby Boucher on the left. And Dan O'Neill, the goalie now moving in for New England, is on the right lower side of that foursome. 4 All-Pros playing in tonight's championship. There's Danny O'Neill right now. He's ready to go. Is his offense ready to go? That's the question. And on the other end, of course, this is Dwight Matkey. And he, so far, you've got to say, Steve, has been the difference because there was some good pressure applied by the New England Blazers.
That second line, Conmian, Carr, Chanachuk, Desko, they were all putting pressure on him. They had a lot of good shots right on front, 5 yards out. Matkey came up with the challenge.
So Matkey was the guy who really had the great second quarter just when they needed it. And now we're all set for second quarter action. It'll be Gabrielson for Philadelphia and Steve Fay for New England. But it's Gabrielson who wins the draw. Let's see who gets possession. And Ron Frazier talked about getting a wake-up call, and it looks like it may have paid off.
I think Cataldo just gave Conley a wake-up call right into the boards. Probably the best hit of the night.
Here's New England shooting in close. Another shot on the follow-up. 2 saves by Matkey.
Big saves by Matkey. Glenn Stevens with 2 right out front shots.
So right out of the box, New England comes out as Ron Frazier thought they might. I would have liked to have been in that locker room. He really got his team fired up. Gabrielson shoots, and Dan O'Neill gets a first save of the game for him. O'Neill, an All-Pro goalie, now in the goal for New England, but they need some offense. They need to get 3 just to tie. Cataldo back out front to Boucher. A good start for New England, Steve.
Came right out strong. Walter Cataldo with a nice hit. They're going to change up a few men.
Johnny Fay down on the crease, working some picks. A lot of contact. Boucher gives it off to Carmian. Carmian can't get around the defense by Ricky Freed. Boucher now does get that loose ball. Boucher will take the left-handed shot, but it's wide of the net.
You can put some steam on that shot.
Out front, there's Johnny Fay, and Johnny Fay dinks it in. Back out to Cataldo. 8-6.
Walter Cataldo. If you had to start a team, a lot of people would want Walter Cataldo as their first player. He came up with a tremendous hit, and you see Johnny Fay, the shot, the rebound at the right place at the right time as Walt Cataldo fires that home.
Cataldo's his second goal of the game, Steve, and he opened up the scoring in the first quarter for New England. So in both halves of play, it's been Cataldo pushing the energy of the offense. And here comes Carmian. He takes a shot in the offense for New England, really changing things around, stepping up the tempo and putting a lot of pressure on Metke.
Metke came up with some big saves. That was a big one right there. He had a couple on Glenn Stevens.
You know, Frazier knew that Metke was good, but he wanted to put consistent pressure on him the whole game and tire him out, and that was what they didn't do at the end of the second period. They certainly are doing it here in the third, though. 8-6, they're down by 2, scoring the first goal of the second half. This is Wilson in Philadelphia, though. They have a 2-goal lead. They are the defending champions.
You heard Dave Evans at the halftime saying how they wanted to pick their spots where they'd run with New England. But they couldn't.
Unbelievable.
Brad Kotz bringing it in from the right side.
He just picked his spots. O'Neill didn't move, and Steve, you know, O'Neill thought he had every spot covered, but Kotz found the one opening.
You see Kotz pushing him out to the side. Kotz gets the shot off. So you see O'Neill hugging that pipe. He thought he had it covered. There's the second angle of it. Just a great shooter.
And his first goal of the night. And O'Neill really just laid on that pipe, thought he didn't have anything left to shoot at, but Kotz saw a small opening and hit it. That's the 8th player to score for Philadelphia. They have really spread out the load in the absence of John Tucker. Ball knocked out of the stick of
Lloyd Byrne.
That was Brad Kotz who lost it initially, and that little snowbird would have been a lot of pressure on Matke, but Matke comes out and gets it. 9-6. Back to within 3, and Philadelphia just matching now those goals by New England. New England needs to string a few of them together, but Philadelphia not giving them any room. Wilson now looks for Kotz. Kotz getting a little bit more defensive pressure. Let's go Blazers, the chant. I think the crowd likes the energy level of the offense. You know, the results will come. They like the fact that the team is running more here in the third period, much more like the season of success of running all the way through. They got into the 6-2 record. In the corner, 11:55 left. Ball bounced out. Wilson decks Blanchard.
A nice solid hit. Andy Wilson.
Matke gives it back to Wilson. 9-6 the score. Philadelphia just slowing the ball down. They've got time on their side. It can be an ally with a 3-goal cushion. New England has tried to dent that 3-goal lead twice, but it's been answered back both times by Philadelphia. Here's McGady. Gets it down to Todd Curry. And look at that over-the-head check. Penalty and a man down for Philadelphia. They'll get a free shot here. And this is an injury to Philadelphia. There he is. Chris Flynn was nailed, and he's looking for somebody. He's saying that he was cross-checked, you might guess, because he brought the stick up. Trainer trying to see if he's all right physically. He was really pummeled because he didn't move for about 50 seconds, a minute of play. He was just down there, Steve, and a lot of times that cross-check will take the wind right out of you.
I think he's saying he got cross-checked up in the head.
Well, that'll do more than take the wind out of you. 9-6, 3-goal lead for Philadelphia.
With a New England man in the box.
Referee's trying to sort things out, and that cross-check on Chris Flynn will
McGady's going in, too.
Oh, both of them are going in. McGady, number 5. New England already has a player in the box. Good look at his equipment right there. 11:17 left, third period, 3-goal lead for Philadelphia.
Todd Francis is in the box for New England.
So you have to really just guess that it was Todd Francis who leveled the hit on Chris Flynn. Referee is still trying to sort things out. This is crunch time, the second half, and we might get a few of these. Championship on the line.
We saw the first 5 minutes. There was a lot of chippiness. Then it settled down to just a little chippiness. And now it's starting to pick up again.
Playing for the North American Cup. the best of the major indoor lacrosse leagues. So now let's see what we'll have. 4-on-4. 2 men in the penalty box. Wait a minute now. 1 5-minute penalty. No, player number 5.
Oh, John Conley, what a shot. What a move.
I'm trying to sort out the penalties, and meanwhile Conley comes in, gives the Philadelphia Wings the 10th goal of the game, a 4-goal lead, and the Blazers are reeling.
Talked about his shot earlier in the game, talked about his fake. Watch this move. Brings him down, stops on a dime, and he's got that cannon. He's just going to let it fly. Nothing you can do on that shot. That thing was moving.
That's the 9th player, Steve, to score for Philadelphia.
Stop, and he's just going to get everything into it. 3-quarter overhand.
2 minutes for a cross-check.
Francis got a total of 4 minutes. He got 2 minutes rough and 2 minutes cross-check.
Well, I was trying to sort that out when Conley scored. Conley putting Philadelphia up 10-6. We've got 11 minutes left in the third period, but it's Philadelphia coming out strong. Another shot on Dan O'Neill. Flynn takes the ball on the wings. Double teamed by New England. And the ball now goes out front to Resch. They'll get some new legs in as the time counts down. So a 4-minute penalty on Todd Francis, a 2-minute penalty on Matt McGady. So in about a minute 30, Philadelphia will be up 5-4 for a power play for 2 minutes.
Powell playing some great D.
Lehman gets it into Gabrielson. New England had that good offensive spurt early on in the third period. Couldn't get a goal, or they couldn't get more than the one from Cataldo. And so far, it's Philadelphia answering and really controlling the ball. So the ball controlled out front by Kotz. Ball pushed back. And now New England trying to get the offense going. Boucher comes in, looks to the left hand, doesn't get the angle. Back out to Gower. Gower has a shot, and Matthew really cuts down the angle.
He comes out about 5 feet, right at the top of that crease. And the goal is only 4 feet by 4 feet. So when he comes out, there's nothing to shoot at.
Brad Kotz comes in, sees a little bit of white, and he hits it.
Brad Kotz, the shooter. We talked about not much to shoot at, and there isn't. But Kotz seems to be finding it.
Second goal of the game for Brad Kotz.
Puts the Wings up by 5, gives him a good cushion. How many times have we seen this? Him coming down on that right side. Far side. He turns that stick over. That's a little spin on it.
So Kotz scores his second goal of the game, his second goal of this third period, and Philadelphia threatening to blow this thing wide open. Right now, the story is a little bit of goalie slack times. You've had O'Neill with a couple bad moments, and you've had Yeager where he had a little bit of a bad second quarter, and Philadelphia taking advantage of it. At the other end of the field, New England just cannot beat Matke.
3 New England Blazers on the ball. And the
11
Philadelphia
seconds.
picks it up.
Steve, you got 11 seconds left. Counting down under 10 on McGady. It'll be power play for Philadelphia in about 3 seconds. Desko might get a shot. Carmian coming behind him. He's kidding, looked to help. He looked inside to Carmian a little bit too late.
They got a 3-on-1.
Curry's got men on either wing, and he elects to shoot against Dan O'Neill. Boy, he had a guy on either side of him. That would have been trouble. Back the other way. Here's Carmian. Carr coming down. He gives it into Carr. Carr shoots and scores.
Kelly Carr did that same thing. Catches it and shoots it. Very quick. Nice pass by Tommy Carmian, doing the right thing at the right time. Settling it. Sorry, that's 2-on-2. No advantage. Then he turned outside, found Carr. It's Danny O'Neill making a nice outlet pass. Now watch Tommy. Tommy's going to bring it down, look at the field, decides not to bring it in, and then looks at Kelly Carr. Kelly Carr doing the same thing he did on his last goal. Catching it, shooting it right away.
And Carr did another nice thing as we look at the score, 11-7. New England needs goals badly. There's 8:59, about 9 minutes left in the third period, and 1:42 on the penalty, so New England's a man down. I was going to say, Kelly Carr came in, Steve, and pushed his defender into the crease and then came back to get the ball.
gave himself some space.
Possession goes to Philadelphia. It'll be a power play, 5-on-4. This is the first power play opportunity for Philadelphia. Let's see how they do. This is a team that's made for a power play.
They're trying a fake ball trick.
Curry had the ball. Wilson pretended he had it, and Curry fed Delegati. And I think Dan O'Neill didn't know where the ball was.
No, Dan O'Neill knew where the ball was. The defenseman up at the top for the Blazers didn't know, but Dan O'Neill did. But what happened was they made the nice quick pass down low, and that was the difference. O'Neill's looking at Curry. Curry just puts it over to Delgatti, and Delgatti slams it home.
So the defense really looking at the middleman, Wilson, who was moving his stick rapidly, and the focus was on the wrong spot. So good call. O'Neill kind of knew where it was, but he had no defensive help. Open shot. Delegati gets his first goal of the game.
Puts him back up to 5. Every time New England's got any kind of momentum, Philadelphia's just coming right back.
And Delegati, ball coming in. Delegati, Steve, is the 10th player to score for Philadelphia.
Total team effort.
Blanchard now. That wipes out the penalty, by the way. It's 5-on-5, all even. We're about halfway through the third period of play. This is the World Championship for the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Regular season champion New England playing the defending champion Philadelphia Wings. And if the Wings win today, Steve, history is the first. It'll be the first team. Yep, first team to defend successfully their title. Todd Francis came in with little or no angle at all of that left-handed shot. He needed to cross over. He didn't. Ball went wide. 7:40 left. 12-7 the score.
Philadelphia quieting the crowd.
They've had 4 goals to 2 against New England. New England scored first in the second half, but since then it was 3 straight for Philadelphia, 1 for each team after that. Ron Frazier a little bit concerned with 7:24 left in the third.
He's got to get something going. They got to get back-to-back goals.
And you never know about your big goalie like O'Neill. He may not be having the game, his normal great game. He may be off a little bit. You know, he hasn't played for 3 weeks in this indoor league, and that could make the difference. Matke had a game last week. He's a little sharper. New England now gives the ball to Boucher, getting the offense moving against tough defense. Martin with a great check, pushes it out, but collected. Stevens trying to give it to Boucher. Boucher has a shot if he can pick it up. Gower can't find the handle.
New England's very tentative. They're not like an egg on a spoon, that ball on their stick.
Here's Martin. So you would have to attribute that probably to the physical play of Philadelphia. They're looking over their shoulders.
Not as much looking over their shoulders as they're in a situation where they're 5 goals down. They're kind of forcing it. They have to make things happen.
When you get a goalie playing like Matke, you feel like you've got to do supernatural things to get the ball in the goal. They have a tendency to give him a lot more credit than he deserves, even though he is having a sensational game. So let's see how the shooters react to the great game by Matke. They're down by 5. Curry coming in. O'Neill waiting for the shot. Defense applied by Boucher, and Curry comes with the left hand, but Boucher pushed him out the last moment. So timeout right now as the ball goes out of bounds. 6 minutes left in the third period. The score 12-7, and with a timeout on the floor. We'll take a timeout here. 6 minutes left in the third. 5 goals down. New England can do it. Let's see if they've got what it takes to be champion. Back at the 1990 Major Indoor Lacrosse World Championships, and Philadelphia threatening to run away with this game. 12-7. They've outscored New England 4-2 in the third period, and a 5-goal lead now. New England with possession.
Every time New England scored, Philadelphia's coming right back.
Parme now gives it to Desco. They've got to figure out a way to beat Metke. He's so sensational in the goal. And the last time Philadelphia, you talked about it, Steve, last time New England beat Philadelphia here, Matke was not playing. Philadelphia comes all the way down. They've got Gabrielson on the wing, but Flynn takes a shot, and O'Neill makes the first save. In the crease, the call. O'Neill couldn't quite get possession, and the ball goes back out
Right now, New England trying to get the ball up. 2 Philadelphia wings already waiting on defense.
Shot against Metke, bounces
Just bouncing right over the net.
a little high. 5:25 left, third period. 5-goal margin. You'd like to cut that down 1 or 2 in this third period and really make it a dogfight for the fourth.
They got to get it back down to 3. They need back-to-back goals.
Carmia knocks it down, really ragging on the ride there, doing a good job. You talked about his offensive skills, but the fact that you thought he was a great defensive player, Steve, that proved it. Conley with a hard shot. O'Neill makes the save. But Holthouse comes back and gets it because Philadelphia will just not let New England get that transition game going.
Philadelphia is one step ahead of New England right now.
And psychologically, they really have the upper edge. The defending champion, cool and calm. Their best player, John Tucker, on the bench, helping out his team during breaks with the water bottle, but he is not playing tonight, and they are doing okay without him. Pat Lehman. Lehman trying to get a shot off, finally does with 16 seconds on the shot clock. Ball goes back. Here's a transition play.
3 on 2.
It's 3 on 2. Far wing is Desko. Desko's open. No, they'll take a shot out front. Desko finally gets it. And a save by Metke. That one counts.
Trickled past the goal.
That's exactly what it did, Steve. It trickled behind Metke. 12-8.
It was just bouncing. Dave Desko out of Syracuse. Nice play by Kelly Carr, bringing the ball down. There's Kelly Carr. He's got a 3 on 2 right now. And this is what they practice. Every practice, 3 on 2. A man should bring it to the cage. He fakes like he's shooting. He makes the initial save. There you see it bouncing. 1, 2 on the line, then over. 12-8.
Desko, the 6th player to score for the Blazers. Normally, you think of them being the guys that spread it around. They haven't had the offense that Philadelphia's had. Philadelphia, 10 players scoring, 16 players scoring overall in this game. A lot of offense from a lot of different places. 12-8, 4 minutes left, third period. You talked about back-to-back goals, Steve, so that's what they need.
That's what they need.
One more, and they've got 4 minutes to do it. They're in pretty good shape if they can do it. Andy Wilson controlling for Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, on the other hand, is answered every time. And here comes Gary Martin.
Comes all the way in, but O'Neill with the big save. And if he starts playing the kind of game he's capable of, it could mean a tough fourth quarter. And look at that, Lloyd Byrne
almost
down there.
Almost hooked up with the long pass.
Brad Kotz was running step for step with Lloyd Byrne. Here comes Resch. Watch out. Trouble in here. A shot from the wing with Delegati taking the left-hander.
He had the little 2-on-1 with Mark Hahn right on the corner.
Resch gives it back to Wilson. Now Resch goes off, and a new player will come on. Wilson feeds the crease to Brad Kotz. He looks for that corner. What accuracy. And O'Neill went up and picked it off with his left shoulder. Peter Schmitz looking for help. Schmitz into the cylinder. He can shoot from there, looking for help down low. Boucher tries to wheel up top to get the ball. In close, it's Johnny Fay. Couldn't quite put it into the net.
Great play by Metke, jumping up over everybody.
Johnny Fay really found the little seam there, and if he could have pulled it down lower, it would have been that deuce you're looking for.
Pushed him away. McGeady was all over him. Pushed him away, freed him, gave himself some space.
12-8. Philadelphia still leads. 2:30 left, third period. Philadelphia with the ball. McGeady working it down low. This is Todd Curry. Curry from Syracuse working against Stevens all the way into Flynn, and Flynn cannot handle it. O'Neill now is out of the goal to get possession. Luckily, he won that gamble. Here comes Boucher. Boucher looking all the way across. Has to take it himself. Beats McGeady. He'll have a shot. Comes in left, pulls the stick. Looks for a trailing player. He finds one. Johnny Fay with that little flip move.
They got a breakaway right here. Flynn.
Chris Flynn couldn't find the handle. And now gets possession, but look at the defense ragging him. That's Toby Boucher. Chris Flynn twice has been in good positions to shoot, but he's not a real good stick guy coming out of Penn. He was a face-off specialist, had a great history of good football performances, tremendous athlete, but hasn't had the years.
Here comes Walter.
Big Walt Cataldo coming in behind, and the ball checked by Pat Lehman. Great defense.
Pat Lehman showing some speed.
Lehman looking very quick on that run.
Oh, almost in that open box door again.
Chris Flynn tried to throw to Pat Lehman, who was leaving the field, and luckily it was backed up by another player. Now 1:20 left, third period. Still a 4-goal lead for Philadelphia. Crucial here that New England scores next. And the ball bounces off of Steve Fay. Carmian trying to get possession. 1:10 left. Conley picks it up, looks for help into the cylinder. Shot clock down to 10. They've got to get one on the 4x4. Down to 8, 7. They're going to lose it. 5. Here comes a shot, though. Conley gets it behind him to Gabrielson. Wrapped in the head, and that'll be a 2-minute penalty on John Fay. Boy, that's too bad. 2 minutes left on the clock. John Fay came in. He had to take him out, and that'll cost him some time in the box. 54 seconds left in the third period. And just what New England doesn't want. John Fay, their captain and leader, going into the box. They need to hold that 4-goal margin. They don't want to get any deeper in the hole.
Let's take a look. This type of situation, Fay's got to do something drastic. Right here, he's got to slide over there. Right, cross-check right across the... Almost 2 penalties. A cross-check and then a wrap hold.
And, of course, he went pretty high, which is not what you like to do. The referees don't like it when you go up above the shoulder pads. So that's a 2-minute penalty on John Fay. Here's the power play for Philadelphia. Ty Curry
like they're
now.
just going to hold the ball for the period. But watch this. They're just going to lull him to sleep, and someone's going to cut.
All the way across. Look at the shot in close on Dan O'Neill. Boy, they're really bringing it in close. The defense for New England giving him a lot of room. Nice check over the head by Peter Schmitz. And banged into the board. Schmitz could pick it up, but he can't find it. 1:20 left on the penalty. 13 seconds left in the quarter. Let's see if they hold it for possession. No, he takes a shot.
1 second left in that. They didn't have a shot on net.
They had no shot clock opportunity. It wound down. Now Peter Schmitz with 6 on the period clock, 4 on the period clock. Winding down. Here's a shot, quick and close. He couldn't get it. Stevens could not get the shot. He had a chance. If that's what the great goalie will do to you, Steve, he'll make you think too much.
Makes you think.
You come in there, you think you got to make the greatest shot of your life, and you get all tied up. That's exactly what happened to Stevens. But New England had the last opportunity of the third period, did not capitalize. 12-8, Philadelphia, a 4-goal cushion. They won the third period 4-3 and have a 4-goal lead going into that final period of the 1990 season. We'll be back with that fourth quarter action as they play for the North American Cup in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Going into the final stanza, the final quarter of the 1990 year. There it is, Philadelphia leading 12-8. And they are the defending champion. They would be the first team to successfully defend their championship. Tremendous year, and that's John Tucker right there, league MVP last year, not suited up. And John Tucker, normally the leader on the field, now trying to lead this team spiritually from the sideline, and he must be working, Steve. He's got a pretty good 4-goal lead with a lot of guys scoring.
Everybody's scoring. It's been a total team effort. 9 different scorers for the Wings.
Actually 10. Wilson now. Again, Philadelphia with a power play. It's 5 against 4. They won the face-off. They still have 42 seconds left on that power play. Kotz on the wing. That's Wilson. Wilson goes into a motion now. They'll try to free up somebody in the crease. Kotz wheels up top. Here they go again, sliding all over, trying to confuse the defense. Kotz is there. He's a shooter. Now a fake high and a shot low. 13-8, and New England better get it going quick.
Kotz with a nice pass over to Andy Wilson, the two we highlighted at the top of the show. 42 points between the two of them. Right there. Now watch this little pass. Kotz right, finds the seam. Wilson takes a step over, makes the fake, goes to the far side. Every time New England scored, Philadelphia has answered.
5-goal lead, very tough to make up with 1 quarter left. New England really has to get it going quick. You can do it in this league, but New England, maybe the layoff has hurt them, but they really don't seem sharp against the great defensive goalie of Matke. He has looked sharp today. Ron Frazier now.
And Frazier has to think up something.
He really needs a couple guys to step forward and go ahead and beat this guy, Dwight Matke. Hopefully Matke is tired out a little bit. If you're Ron Frazier, that's what you're hoping. If you're Dave Evans over at the Philadelphia Wings side, things are looking pretty good. Boucher now triggering the offense for the Blazers. A full fourth period left. Here comes Gower. Left-handed shot. No angle.
Saw the 5-hole.
That was the only shot he had with that left hand. Here comes Ricky Freed. O'Neal still in the goal for New England.
A lot of confidence in Philadelphia right now, the way they're moving the ball, taking their time.
Holthouse tries to find Freed in the crease. O'Neal comes out and gets the ball. You're absolutely right. Coming into the game, they had to wonder what they're going to do without Tucker and some of the other guys like Dirgil, the faceoff man. They've done beautifully. They are the defending champs. 5-goal lead, feeling pretty confident. New England has to break that confidence with a couple goals. Carmian tries to get things started. Metke makes another save. I'd like to know how many he has. I bet you it's a bundle. 13:06 left in the game, in the season. Into Wilson, great fake high, goes low, and O'Neal right there to make the save.
Great pass by Kotz. New England gives Philadelphia the ball right there.
13-8, 40 seconds left on the shot clock. Plenty of time. Philadelphia will try to use that now. Over to Brad Kotz. Kotz 2 goals on the day so far. Carmian really trying to get the ball back. Kotz comes in, and O'Neal with a good save. Back to Kotz. He picked it up, and a good shot by Hahn on the rebound. Now here's an opportunity to run if they can get possession. But Philadelphia making it very tough for New England to get anything going in the transition game.
You see, you got right now, Philadelphia has a man back, even though the ball's way down in the defensive end, their offensive end.
Well, you're absolutely right. Gary Martin was just stationed back there trying to cut off that fast break. They can go ahead and play a defensive game now. It's really going to be a lot of pressure being applied on the offensive end of the field for New England. They've got to make something happen. It'll be tough. Peter Schmitz. Francis. Francis tries to beat 2 men. Can't do it. They wrap him up. And Gagnon comes in, picks up the loose ball, and a save by Metke. 11:40 left in the game. 5-goal lead for Philadelphia in the gray and black. Team's getting physical now. Gagnon brings it in for New England. They need to punch one past Dwight Metke. He has been absolutely sensational in the goal. I have to say that he's the leading candidate for the Coors Light MVP at this point. Blanchard comes in, tries to go to the left hand. He needed to go back into the cylinder and give himself something to shoot at.
Angle.
And the ball goes back to Philadelphia with 11 minutes left in the game. Boy, those are the opportunities that you really have to score on.
You have to cash.
Now fresh legs in for Philly. New England trying to press the tempo when they get a chance. It's just that they don't get that many chances. Negati comes all the way in, takes a shot, but O'Neal makes a save. Todd Curry picks it up. Delegati's wide open. McGady's high on the offensive cylinder. And Curry takes it himself, turns, and he scores. Todd Curry with his 3rd goal of the game.
Todd Curry out of Syracuse knows how to shoot the ball. You see Danny O'Neal not too happy. He comes right around that cylinder, takes the extra step, gets that extra angle. Watch him, he's behind. He's looking, I'll stop. I'm coming around the other end now. And what happens is, watch him, he's going to take that extra step. 1, 2, around, all the way around, finds that far corner. New England is in a hole right now. Down 6 goals.
Exactly where Philadelphia wants them. Putting a lot of pressure on their offense and not letting them get into any kind of transition game. Of course, when you try to press and get the ball, that leaves opportunities for the other team. Philadelphia, when you give them an opportunity, they will go ahead and take advantage of it. Push called on New England. It'll be Philly's ball. Gabrielson to McGady.
Here's your shots. Philadelphia 40 to New England's 24.
That about says it all, doesn't it?
And those 24 have been good for New England, and Metke's come up. Some big saves, 17 of them so far.
He's been sensational. 10 minutes left in the game. Carmian now trying to get the offense going. They're 6 goals down. Not impossible, but obviously improbable for this team to make a comeback. Chanenchuk comes in and gives a fake. Wheels into the cylinder, takes a little bit of an off-speed shot that bounces in and past the goal. Back out to Chanenchuk again. He takes a shot that bounces off of Metke. That was a good shot, Steve. That's the kind of shot that I think that will score if you hit the net. Yep. You get him high and you bounce it past him.
Get him moving. You saw him give him that 1 extra pump. You have to get him moving out of his cage.
Lou Delegati now trying to ask for the ball at midfield. Nobody gives it to him. Now he gets it. just to give it back and go off and get another fresh line on. Holthouse with the ball, gives it to line leader Brad Kotz. Now they're in motion, cutting through. Holthouse into the crease. Here comes Kotz. Kotz takes the ball left-handed, shoots, and Kotz gets his third goal. The Syracuse connection, a hat trick apiece.
Kotz, right there, showing what a shooter. Far side. He's got that little pocket. I looked at it before the game. I don't know how he shoots, but he got one past O'Neill right there. There you see Ron Frazier, not too happy. They are in a big hole. That hole was big. Now it's a valley.
Now it's the Grand Canyon. 3 straight goals for Philadelphia.
To the far side. Philadelphia can taste it right now. Up 7 goals with 9 minutes to go.
Looks like the crowd getting a little bit riled up too. The fans, of course, here for the Blazers, enjoying the great season, but Philadelphia brings a lot of crowd, a lot of fans with them when they go to these arenas. They are a tremendous, tremendous team that has good fan support. Score 15-8, 7-goal lead for Philadelphia. They have absolutely taken over the game. They started this onslaught in the second period. New England unable to match them. Now moving in a circular fashion, getting good open shots, and there's another one by Wilson.
A lot of open shots.
I think what's happening, Steve, if you would agree, is that New England trying to press to get the ball, and that gives a lot of green space.
That's it. They need the ball right now.
So if you press to get it and you don't get it, the other team, Philadelphia here, is going to have the opportunities. They're going to have the shots. 15-8, 8 minutes left, fourth period. And the crowd wanting to cheer for the New England Blazers. They needed something to cheer about. 15-8 the score, 7 goals down. Here's team leader John Fay. He's an All-Pro, first team in 1990. And you look at the status of the All-Pros in this game, Brad Kotz pops out right away. He is the all-time leading scorer in post-game, and he didn't do anything to hurt that today, did he, Steve?
No.
3 hat trick already.
3 goals, the shooters, we talked about them at the top of the show. And, you know, Philadelphia, they're the champions from last year, showing it this year. They talked to them before the game a lot, before the last game. They were saying how they kind of just rolling through the season. Then they lost their last 2 games, but when it came time for the playoffs, I think they picked up their intensity just a little bit more. Plus,
some players that are key, like this guy right here, Mackey. He was injured, broken collarbone from one of his own players in practice. It's Matt McGady, as a matter of fact, with a hard shot. He came back just at the right time.
For the playoffs, MVP of the first playoff game against New York.
And a good candidate for this one.
Pretty solid for this one, too.
When you've got the scoring spread over 10 different players and a great goal effort like that, he's a great candidate for it. Wilson behind the back, 6:50 left. 7-goal lead for Philadelphia. And New England just unable to get it past Dwight Metke. Boucher comes in left-handed, tries to find that old 5-hole that you like to call right between the legs.
There.
What about the layoff, Steve? You think the layoff really hurt the New England team?
It's tough to say. It's tough to say. You know, they've been practicing a lot, but that game intensity, you know, every week might have been a letdown for them. But I think Philadelphia's played an excellent game. Coach Evans was talking about they want to run when they see the opportunity to do it and not run for 60 minutes. And I think they've done exactly that. They've stayed within their game plan.
Ball loose. Philadelphia has a chance to get an open shot here. 6 minutes left in the game. New England needs some offense. Here goes Boucher looking up to Gagnon.
2-on-1. They need one here if they're going to do anything.
He's got Fay. He hits Fay. Fake. And Fay cannot beat Metke.
Hits the post. Got a 3-on-1 the other way.
Chris Flynn goes across. Todd Curry goes back to Holthouse. No, he holds the ball. Curry back out, sees McGady and says, let's slow it down, guys. The clock is our friend right now. And
they're just playing with it. They're just playing with it now. They had a great chance to shoot right there, and they didn't.
Under 6 minutes is probably what you want to do. If you got a 7-goal lead, make it actually mathematically impossible to win. You figure if they hold the ball for every 45-second clock, mathematically it'd be very tough to beat them. Todd Curry comes in. He'll have an open shot. Doesn't quite get there. O'Neill gives it to Desko.
You look back, and there's 2 Philadelphia guys already back on defense.
Absolutely.
Done
dropping
a great job. champions flexing their muscles right now.
They've coached a perfect game against this wild team from New England. The New England team loving to run and gun. They have a lot of speed. Philadelphia just cut that field off and made them play a half-field game. There's Evans doing a sensational job, and he may be the first coach to defend his championship here in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. We've got a break in the action right now. A timeout, and he'll pull his team over. We'll take a timeout as well. 15-8 to score, a 7-goal lead. It looks insurmountable. Will they create history and be the first team to defend? We've got 5 minutes to find out. Back at the Major Indoor Lacrosse World Championship. Good look at the equipment, the Joppa helmet, the STX Turbo, and this Brine Superlight 2+2. And here's the scoring for the third quarter. Again, Steve, the Wings just took over.
Cataldo started it, and as it happened for the first 3 quarters, Wings came right back and answered it with Kotz, Connolly, and Kotz. Carr came back looking for that 2 goals. Spread again. No, Delgatti comes back for the Wings, and then Desco. Then it's all Philadelphia, Wilson, Curry, Kotz. Pretty much put this one away. 15-8. They're down 7. 5 minutes, not impossible. Highly improbable. Here's Ron Frazier, did a great job from 1-7 last year to 6-2, first place overall. Fortunately, coming up a little bit shy in the big game.
Shot in front of Dan O'Neill. There was an article in the paper today, and Frazier said, you know, we really can't lose. We've had a great season. If we lose the game, it's been a great season. We're winners, period. And he can't ask any more from his team. I think that's the way you got to look at it. It's been a sensational year. They're playing the defending champions. Looks like they're not going to beat them, but they've had a fantastic year here in New England, and nothing but a great season to be proud of. Runners up. Rufus Clark comes in to take a shot on Metke. Back out to Chanachuk. Doesn't really matter who's shooting. Nobody seems to be able to dent the net. Carmine can't get it in. He goes high, and Metke pulls it down. 4 minutes, 10 seconds left.
Takes his time. 45 seconds just kills a lot of the time.
Boy,
Metke.
He's wearing some armor, isn't he? Looks like he's got the Dick Butkus pads on the top. Pat Lehman controlling. Conley. 4 minutes even. Now it's dropped to under that, so under 4 minutes left in the game. And a 7-goal lead. Philadelphia trying to use the 45-second clock. Pat Lehman double teamed. Get some help from Conley. Chanachuk comes down all the way across and fires it in. Clark check from behind. 3:30 left. Most of the crowd staying here. They want to give their team appreciation after this great season.
Going to get a penalty. Man-up situation. 3 minutes and 28. Gabrielson.
Bruce Crawford there, refereeing, part of the crew.
And a penalty against...
Here we go. Gabrielson doing Jesse the Body Ventura tackle, takedown. Works in the WWF, but it'll take 2 minutes.
I thought it looked like more of I thought it was more of a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
This copyrighted program is brought to you under pay cable TV rights granted by the MILL solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use of the accounts and/or descriptions of this game without the written consent of the New England Sports Network and the Mill is prohibited.
I bet you won't have to worry about the Blazers copying this baby. A shot in close. That's goal number 9.
Kelly Carr, man up goal, number 9. They're down by 6. 3 minutes left. That's a goal every 30 seconds.
And Carr, that's a hat trick for Kelly Carr. Pretty good game for him.
He's come in strong. Here's Johnny Fay over to Kelly Carr. You're just going to watch a nice right on the crease. Fine. There's a dejected Dan O'Neill. Unhappy. 15 goals.
Well, you can
not all on his head, but
yeah, I think with a 6-goal lead, let's put the credit where it's due, and that's right over there on the Philadelphia bench.
You got it. Champions.
A quality team here they've built in Philadelphia, and what a following they have at the Spectrum. I can guarantee you there are at least a couple thousand fans here from the Philadelphia
Well, you talk about team,
area.
they're a team effort tonight.
Kotz comes in. He holds it to the last minute and just puts it right over the shoulder.
His fourth goal right in the corner. What more can you say about Brad Kotz on that shot? He didn't have anything. What? He just puts it right in the upper right-hand corner. Just coming in the fakes, 3 fakes. Just hits down against the board. Putting it away. 16-9. Watch where this ball. Watch where he shoots it. There's not much room. Right over his shoulder. See, he holds it straight up. Doesn't have any sidearm on that shot. There they are. The Happy Wings.
Well, let me tell you something impressive about Brad Kotz. We've talked about him a lot. He didn't score in the first half in this game. In the last 8 goals scored, Brad Kotz has had 4 of them. When the money was on the table, the All-Pro came and really took charge. Brad Kotz, first-team All-Pro in the mill and the leading scorer of all time in postseason play, and I guess he showed us why. 4 goals tonight, all in the second half for Brad Kotz. 2:25 left, 7-goal lead for Philadelphia. They will be the first team in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League to just successfully defend their championship. And they're going to have to get the North American Cup awarded to them right here in front of this hostile crowd of the Centrum.
Hostile home crowd of the Blazers.
Well, let's see if they all warm up after the game and just enjoy the great entertainment of the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, because it is just that, a lot of offense, a lot of great lacrosse players. Metke now using the clock.
Taking their time. Another 9 seconds left on the shot clock.
Metke now. There you go. Attendance just announced over 11,000 here to see the New England Blazers try to get their first World Championship.
Got to give Stephen David and Cindy Burke from the Centrum. They did a great job all week. Talked to them a few times this week. Very busy. A couple 16-hour days.
How about Steve August? We keep leaving him out. We talked about him the first 2 games of the season. We forgot about him. He's the general manager for the Blazers, and he's done a great job along with Ron Frazier. Those 2 guys, they really put together the Cinderella program of the mill this year. 1:20 left. 7-goal lead for Philadelphia. It's all over, folks. They will be the 1990 world champion. And that'll be 2 years in a row for Philadelphia. And they did it this time without their MVP from last year. Delegati comes in, finds the corner, and icing on the cake. 17-9. Sweet Lou Delegati gets his 2nd goal of the game.
There you see him right there. He's celebrating. He's looking up to the fans. There's a lot, like I said, there's about 1,000 fans. And here's Lou. He's going to catch this ball and come strong to the crease.
It's kind of tough to ask for a tough defense. I think New England's emotionally broken right now, and the game's all over. 1 minute, 6 seconds left. 17-9, a lot of goals. That's a score of 17 goals as we look at Ron Frazier and the bench. They shouldn't be too sad, as we talked about, a tremendous year for them. But 17 goals in the first 2 years of the league, that was a standard. The defenses have caught up with the offense, and right now 17 goals is a dramatic number in the 1990 play.
This is the first one where it's been a large margin of victory.
Every other,
the last 3 has all been one goal wins.
Absolutely, 1 goal win every year except for this one. New England with a 3-week layoff may have been the killer for them. But more likely it was the play of Dwight Matke, who has really been sensational in the goal and a good team effort by a great World Championship franchise. 25 seconds, counting down. This is it. Shot clock down to 3, 4. They'll just give the ball up. Throw it down to the corner, kill time. 17 seconds in the game and counting. Here comes New England for a possible last shot. Kelly Carr gets the ball up. Somebody will have a chance to crank it one last time. Maybe it's Carmine with 9, 8. Gets it into Desco, who can't find the 4x4. 5 seconds, this will be it. Philadelphia will do it.
The champions, repeat champions, the Philadelphia Wings. 1990 MILL champions.
And the Wings have taken the championship for the 2nd straight year.
The New England Blazers 9. The New England Blazers would like to thank you for your support of the 1990 season. The Blazers have come a long way in just 1 year.
A lot of fans here from Philadelphia cheering them on, and Ron Frazier getting his team together saying, look guys, nothing to be sad about.
There's
there
your
you
Wings.
go.
Philadelphia Flyers, the Wings.
Philadelphia is fanatic about this Wings team, and what a great program. Ron Frazier, our hat off to him. There's Chris Fritz, co-owner, league president, talking to Philadelphia. Matkey, what a sensational game. And I guess it's tough for me to call, Steve. It's going to be either Matkey or Brad Kotz for that Coors Light MVP.
It would be tough. It's a tough one. I haven't thought about it.
Matkey really shut the door in the second quarter, but Kotz came on in the second half. We'll have our closing ceremonies, the award to the winning championship team of the North American Cup by the league officials. 17-9 the final. Stay with us. We'll talk to some of our post-game guests and have some stats when we come back. We're back at the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts, and down on the field, Chris Fritz, Russ Klein, co-owners of the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, along with the Philadelphia family, and that's Mike French, who's the general manager on the left. On the right, you've got Coach Dave Evans, and then I would suspect, Steve Glover, you've got the Coors Light MVP, Brad Kotz, accepting the North American Cup for the second year in a row. Sensational job, and there's a team that deserves all the credit you can give them. They were facing elimination last week. They had to play New York, and that was a team that beat them the week before. They didn't have their best goalie. They didn't have Tucker, and they came back and won 9-8 and blew out New England in the finals.
Coming into the Lions.